Welcome to the world of skincare, where groundbreaking innovation changes the way our skin looks and, most importantly, feels, making the journey to healthier skin a lot easier and one we can be confident about. I love the sound of that. In fact, I'm ready to embrace it and here to unpack the unmet need in hyperpigmentation specifically, and the perfect solution for it with ROCHE is dermatologist Dr. Alice Prevost. Doc, Alice, welcome to the show. Thank you so much for being here.
Lovely to be here.
I know this is a first-time experience for you, so welcome to the couch. It's a wonderful, safe place. No, do you know what it is for me? It's an absolute goldmine because I get to sit and look into the eyes of experts who are so emotionally invested in what you do. So thank you for representing that. There is something about pigmentary disorders that kind of lets it fly under the radar a little bit until you're affected by it. Then it can be all-consuming. It can be major. So take us to that baseline. What is the difficulty, or why has this been such a kind of Rubik's Cube to crack when it comes to dermatology?
Well, I think it's one thing is, as you've touched on, it's just such a common problem, Graham.
Yeah.
So it's probably grossly underestimated, but most people will be affected by some sort of pigmentary disorder in their life. And then I think for me as a dermatologist, it's understanding the complexity of it, that unfortunately it's not one of our conditions where there's a one-size-fits-all approach to everyone. And then lastly, I'd say it's often very persistent, and that's something that we as dermatologists find frustrating, but for patients especially, it's a road they'll start walking, and it'll often be quite a long journey, and once their pigmentation is treated, there will often be, well, always a long period of maintenance. So I think those are the things that make it very challenging.
Which says to me you need a nice arsenal of weapons to approach this.
The perfect way to describe it. You need an arsenal. You need a huge variety of different approaches and different treatment modalities to address this condition.
And the joy here now is with the advancements that we made within technology, within information sharing, how granular we can get in that sense, is you can offer something literally for every person and their own life path.
Absolutely.
That being said, what are the heavy hitters? What are we looking out for when it comes to pigmentation specifically? What are those key ingredients that we need to connect to?
So I think when we talk about pigmentation, we want to have an answer in terms of a diagnosis for a patient. So that's very important for people to remember, that you can get post-inflammatory pigmentation from a variety of different things, even something simple as acne. So we want to say, when we're talking about pigmentation, we mean something like melasma, like hormonal pigmentation or pigmentation from the sun.
Okay.
And if we're talking about that, what are our key hitters? Something that we've had for a very long time. We wonder if Michael Jackson dabbled a bit, and that is something called hydroquinone, which is...
But spicy for your first time on TV,
well, exactly,
Doc?
I'm going to
Wow.
push the envelope a little bit. Is something called hydroquinone.
Okay.
That's a bleaching agent. That's still the medical gold standard. Critically, what I want to say is that's something you want to do under the care of a dermatologist.
Super controlled.
Because if you use it for too long, you can get something called exogenous ochronosis, which leaves permanent black pigmentation on your skin.
Wow.
But that's outstanding. And then we have a variety of other amazing compounds and formulas. So we have the retinoids, which is our group of vitamin A creams, which definitely assist in pigmentation. We have the vitamin C compounds, so the antioxidant family, the ascorbic acid. And then we have a number of other tyrosinase inhibitors. Tyrosinase is an enzyme that leads to pigmentation, like kojic acid, arbutin, azelaic acid. So there are quite a new numbers. And then, as we saw, we have the introduction of this new compound, melasyl, which we're all very excited about, and we have yet to try on our patients. But that works on the actual precursors of the melanin. And we'll see that's another wonderful one to add to our arsenal.
Ultimately, I think we're in the era of feeding the body to help itself as much as we can. It's not about just a magic wand that science offers us, recreating the compounds that are already found in our body. We seem to have had a shift, which has just brought on this, I call it the quantum era, and you can see it in skincare. Things are just moving forward so fast. That being said, we are still dealing with people, not products. We are dealing with people going through the most. And often something that's there every day, you can set aside and you're like, oh, I'll deal with it, I'll deal with it. And then people, like you have pointed out, will live with pigmentation issues for a long time. What advice do you have for someone who's going through a more extreme case right now? What should they do?
I think I want to say to them that pigmentation is something that they can get help for, and they mustn't feel that there's something wrong with them if it's having a big impact on their life. It does, and that there is help for them. I'd say even just one consult with a dermatologist is a valuable thing to know what is the source of your pigmentation. Then in terms of advice, rule number 1 to 1,000 is sun protection. That sounds ridiculous, but the minute, no matter what you are doing, if the sun is involved, it is worsening that pigmentation and causing darkening. And we've seen now that with pigmentation, we want UVA and UVB, at least SPF 50, but we need protection from visible light. So that's a new thing that we now know with pigmentation, that's critical. So sunblock, then a morning antioxidant. So vitamin C in the morning, you put that on after you wash your face, and that causes lightening of pigmentation, but it also protects you against the sun and against oxidative damage.
Okay.
At night, a retinoid. So any product with vitamin A will help. And then we use all our other wonderful tools, which are like our kojic acid, our butane, our thymidol, this melasyl that we've just heard about. We add those in to craft the perfect solution for you.
Nuanced finished product. I'm going to stop you right there, because if you continue for another split second, you're going to have to charge me for a consult. I have a feeling. You're amazing. Absolutely love everything that you've introduced to us today. It is a brave new era, and I think you need to think of that relationship with your skin maybe as a lifelong marathon, an ultra marathon, if you will. It's not a sprint. There'll be moments to pick up the pace or maybe take a step back, but ultimately you've got to have the long game in mind. And you can discover so much more right now available. When we talk about the arsenal of weapons that you can use to protect yourself, there really is so much there. If you have any concerns, though, speak to a professional. Go and consult your dermatologist.
Hyperpigmentation innovation. Melasyl, patented until 2036. The new active to intercept excess melanin before it marks the skin. Superior anti-pigmentation efficacy. Now in Melabit 3 serum. Clinically proven on all skin tones by ROCHE POSAY.